Welcome to Beyond the Stage. Today we're joined by Eppic. We want to learn a little bit more about him and his music. So let's get started by asking Eppic, what are some of the earliest memories you have of music?
Okay, so I remember my first show was in at the Citadel Mall. It's in Colorado Springs because that's where I grew up, and it was a show. It was a Take Five concert, and I was performing with this band called Real Music at the time. And I remember this show. I was literally looking down at the ground the entire time. The audience is here. I'm looking here. No eye contact at all. If I try to look up, I would completely forget the words. That my main focus was trying to remember the words of this of the songs that I was writing, because this is my first show ever, and I completely bombed it. And unfortunately, my mom has like that camcorder. At the time, the camcorder, she has it all recorded. I hate watching it, but yeah, that was that was nerve wracking. I was like, okay, I need to figure this out. My dad really got on me about it because I was supposed to go to a Chameleonaire concert later that week, and I remember just being in such like a depressed state. I was like, I messed up, like all my songs. And my dad was like, okay, if you don't get out of this funk, this is going to happen. You're not going to go to the concert. I was like, okay, it's fine. Like, this will happen. This is part of this industry. Like, I have to, the part of the growth process. And so I remember later I started doing these talent shows. I finally got the nerve to do the talent show at my high school. And I remember I had one song I was going to do solo and another song that I wrote that I was really proud about. And I remember getting up there and I was so nervous. Like, I looked at the crowd, but I didn't move too much. But the response of it was so encouraging and so positive. And I was like, maybe I can do this. Like, and that's when I kind of got that jolt. I was just like, okay, let's continue this. Like, this is part of it. And I remember that coming off stage, and this mom comes up to me. She's like, you know what? That was good. That was good. Like, keep it up, son. And I was like, okay, cool. And so that's like, those are the two main ones that really kind of got that fire in me to continue doing music. So,
Who are some of the artists that have influenced you musically over the years?
The big one, number one, the reason why I even started writing was Eminem. I remember my dad and my sister were watching 8 Mile at the time, and I came downstairs and I started watching it. And at the very end, in the credits roll, was "Lose Yourself," and I remember, and "Lose Yourself." Once I heard that, I was just like, "What is this? Like, what is this song?" Because the story of it, just the whole construction of that song was so amazing to me. And I remember grabbing a piece of paper, running upstairs, and writing it, and started writing my own stuff, but. Later, I started getting introduced. I got into my youth. I started getting involved in youth groups. I started getting involved in like these small groups in my neighborhood. And I remember the lead youth group leader. He introduced me to a rapper named Trip Lee, and I had no idea who he was. And it was a group from Reach Records, like Lecrae, KB, and Mineo. And I remember hearing the music, and I was like, what is this? Like, it was just really refreshing to hear. And so those guys are like a huge part of why I do what I do now. It's like a different direction of where I was going before, when I heard Eminem. And also just Paramore has been a huge one as well, because I started putting like rock elements into my music. And Paramore was, when I heard Riot album, like that was it for me. Like, that really hit me in the heart. And I just love everything about that album. That has to be like hands down one of my favorite albums, and that really influenced me later as well. So,
Eppic, was there one particular moment that stood out that made you decide that you wanted to pursue music?
Yeah. So when I did get into Eminem, because growing up, I was into Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and all that. And I remember when I did listen to Eminem, he hated boy bands. Like, I know he tore them apart in like songs and stuff. And so I was like, yeah, boy bands suck. So I stopped listening to boy bands, and my dad was like, this is going to be a phase. I thought it was going to be a phase. I was writing here and there, and there's a point I was like, yeah, maybe this will be a phase, because I don't know how long I'm going to continue doing this. And 3 years later, because I heard it when I was 11, and then 3 years later, my dad got me tickets to the Anger Management Tour concert, which was one of Eminem's concert. And that was the last time Eminem actually ever came to Denver. So I was really fortunate to be able to see that and be a part of that experience. But I remember being in the audience, and I just remember like the energy that was on stage and the crowd, how they were reacting to it and how they were just rocking with them and knowing every single word. Like when the music cuts off and the artist just lets the people just rap and you heard that, I was just like, that set a spark off. I was like, this is what I want to do. It was so powerful. And when I was 14 when I went to that concert. And so that's when I knew exactly what I wanted to do. So
When writing songs, where does your inspiration come from?
I draw a lot of it from life experiences, a lot of life experiences. Once I got into, youth group, and I really started building my relationship with God. And in a sense, that's been a huge inspiration for me. Like a lot of my songs, if you like hear is I'm like having a conversation with him. I'm having just like, this is where I'm at. I'm struggling. I need help. It's just like a cry for help. And so I love sharing that. And that's where a lot of it kind of draws from my inspiration. But not only that, but hearing people's stories. One thing that I really love is just sitting down with someone, asking them what their story is, like what their testimony is, and then for them sharing that really gets me fueled up, because I can create such a story or use that as inspiration to fuel another song that I'm writing or something. And so that my community, just being around people that are just positive, encouraging, seeing people that are struggling. Sometimes I even get my inspiration from just watching a movie or something. Like an actor could say a line and I'll be like, wow, that could be some kind of lyric, and that lyric could turn into an entire song. So inspiration drawn from everywhere. So
in today's hip hop world, there's a lot of negativity. You've made it a point to stay positive, and you're very passionate about that. Can you tell us why that's so important to you?
It's unfortunate that it's crazy to know that what we consume, it affects us. Like we don't realize that. And when I was growing up listening to Eminem, 50 Cent, Young Bloods, and all that kind of explicit music, that was affecting me in a certain way, because I know it's just like how I carried myself was so much different. And now it's like when I did get introduced to Lecrae and hearing them, how they rap, and it's just so encouraging and uplifting, inspiring, and how I felt after listening to that kind of music, there's a complete difference. And so as I started getting into that, my eyes started opening up, and I started realizing, I was like, this music is dark. And there's so many people listening to that and rocking with them, and be like, they think that's what life is. They think that life is about making money, sex, drugs, misogynistic lyrics, all that. And people consume that because that's a lot of people, that's all they know. That's what they kind of grew up around. And I feel like we have to be a light. Like I really wanted to be a light in hip hop, and just because there is so much dark content being created. And yeah, I think there's just so much more to just rapping about money and about those topics, because I get fans sending me messages saying like they're struggling with suicide, they're going through depression, or their mom just died, and now we have these rappers who are like, well, I just bought a new Bentley, or I just bought out the whole entire hotel or something like that, and being selfish, rarely I just about them, when it's like so much bigger than that, where it's like we could share these stories, we can make an impact, such a big impact, if we were to rap about uplifting topics or rap about what is exactly going on in the world. And that's why I love like Kendrick Lamar, because Kendrick Lamar, he writes about content that you hear in the news or something that is going on his heart, and he shares that, and it's able us to relate. Yeah, because you can't relate with someone that is like sleeping with so many different women. It's like, that's not a lifestyle that I would love to have for the rest of my life. And I want to be able to relate to someone and be like, hey, you who is going through suicide, you who's depressed, I've been there before. And so here's my story, and this is how I got out of it. This is my journey. And hopefully that encourages them to be like, to get up and really start making a difference. And then when you do that, when you impact someone's life, that spreads to someone else, and it just becomes like this ripple effect. And just to create this light in the world just because there's so much darkness. And it's kind of disgusting seeing what's in the world right now. So yeah, that's why I choose to stay positive in what I do. So
You've worked with a lot of artists on YouTube. Can you tell us a little bit about those experiences in the YouTube community itself?
yeah, I love collaborating. Like if anything, if you ever go to my channel, whoever's watching this, if you go to my channel, you'll see that I just collaborate with so many different singers and rappers just because I love to just hear someone else's thoughts or hear what someone else's heart is at, and sitting in a room and be like, let's create something together. It's not just me in my room by myself and be like, well, this is just me. Now it's just like it's a team effort of creating this. And also, whenever, even if I do write a song, it's cool to bring someone else on to give it a different flavor, because we could be doing a topic about, it could be a topic about anything, and I may be thinking one thing and write a verse a certain way or write a chorus a certain way, but you bring another brain in and you bring another creative mind in, they're thinking a whole different way, and now it's just like, okay, how can we put these two together to make beautiful art? That's pretty much it. And entering the part about the community side of things, it's cool because the YouTube community, to me, well, the world, the part that I'm in, because I feel like there's different cliques in the YouTube world, it feels like family, because we could create, I could have a song that I need a singer on, and you can call someone up and be like, hey, I got this song, would you want to be on it? And they're down to do it. Or if they're looking for a rapper, which a lot of times people are just like, I don't know how to fill this verse, or I need a rapper for this, would you want to do it? And so it's cool because we help each other out, because we all, in a sense, even though we're going in different directions, in the center of it all, we pretty much have the same goal. We want to make good music. We just want to make music to share with our fans, and just put out there for people to enjoy, to be happy with, and to put on their iPods and just have a good time. And we're there to entertain, you know? And that's what I really love about the YouTube community. We're like a family. We're down to help each other. And it's cool. It just, I love it. So.
Is there someone out there you'd like to collaborate with that you haven't had the opportunity to?
Yeah, there's a singer named Noel Bean. I got introduced to her music about 2 years ago, and I remember her voice was so unique. It like stood out. And I remember I was like, man, this girl is good. And I met her last year, and she has like such a good heart in the music. She's such an amazing writer, amazing singer, just all around good character, great girl. And I would love just to work with her, because I don't know, it'll be cool just to kind of see our two different writing styles come together, and I think we can make something amazing. And she's just an amazing artist. So.
Eppic, what are some of your goals moving forward?
That's such a good question, because last year was interesting. I had these goals set. I had this goal to release an EP, to do A, B, and C. And as you like, I feel like with anything, plans change. Plans change, like no matter how you put it. And I remember I didn't release as much music as I wanted to last year. It was like really discouraging knowing that I didn't release that much music, and kind of I feel like I let my fans down in a sense. And so I had one direction that I wanted to go with this project, and that was completely like wiped off, hit by a wave, wiped off. And now it's just like, okay, I was going in the wrong direction. This is the right way to go. And so I've been taking time to work on these songs, and now I'm in a spot where I'm so at peace with the music that I'm coming out with. And even last year was just a year of growth for me. I learned a lot about the way that I write, the way that I rap, the way I just carry myself on camera, all that stuff, and how I perform. And I'm going to take everything that I learned from last year and apply it to this year to finally release the EP that I've been working on, and just to come out with good music, just come out good music that people will love, people will enjoy. And I have an itch to start performing. So once that's done, once that music and writing side of things is done, because I took a whole year to write, now it's just like, let's get this music out. Let's get performing, and let's meet fans who have been supporting. And the way things are looking right now, it looks like 2016 is when I'm going to start doing shows, because I'm trying to get into the college market and do all these small shows here and there just to start growing the fan base. But shows and just release some music at the moment. And Yeah, a huge goal of mine is just to kind of release an album. I'm not sure if that's going to be next year or not, but an album in the future would be amazing. But right now, it's like, let me focus on today. Let me focus on this EP, and let's focus on making these shows happen. So
Is there something you enjoy outside of music your fans might not know about?
I love hikes. I love hiking, and it's funny because I hated hiking in Colorado. Didn't like being outdoors. Bugs everywhere. It was just it's not enjoyable, but for some reason coming out here, it's been an amazing way to clear my head, amazing way to just really refocus myself, because like being in the city is like so loud. And so going out there and just being by myself is really cool, or even going out there with friends is really cool as well. So I really appreciate hiking. And also I love playing basketball, watching basketball. And I mean, I feel like a lot of people know that about me, but then also as well, like I'm a geek at heart. Like I love playing Legend of Zelda, like games like that. I love watching anime, and like Game of Thrones. Like I'm just a nerd when it comes to that stuff. And so whenever I'm done working on music or anything, that's what I love to do. Get a bowl of cereal, sit down, and just binge watch whatever it is that I want to watch. So it's cool.
Where's the best place for fans to stay up to date with your music and everything you have going on?
Facebook and Twitter. That's where I'm most active. I post occasionally on Snapchat, not too often, but Facebook and Twitter is going to be where most of my updates are going to happen. So,
Eppic, did you have any final thoughts for everyone before we go?
yeah. Well, going back to the last question you just asked me, it'd probably be good to just let them know about my mention, the URL to get to those pages. It's at Eppic Invasion, and then Facebook is /Eppic Invasion. So that's where you'll be able to find me. Also, for anyone's watching, I am so excited to release new music right now. Again, like I said earlier in this interview, is that it's been an interesting journey, like creating this music, and I'm excited for it to finally come out, and for us just to grow together. If you don't even know who I am, if you don't know who I am at all, yeah, search my music. I don't know. Hopefully you check out my music, or you can go onto iTunes and check that out, and you become a fan, become part of the family, and we could just grow together. And hopefully, once the EP is released, which I don't have a date for, I don't want to say it prematurely. I want to make sure everything's set in stone. But once that's released, I hope you enjoy it, because I'm so excited to get that out and to get new content out to you guys. So, yeah.